Okay. In our last video, we learned about different vocab words we can use to describe numbers. And in this video, we're going to practice on a few different examples, and we're going to see what type of numbers would best describe each of my examples on here. Now, when it says something like this, like to which set of numbers does each number belong, every number, each one of these four numbers is a real number. A real number, like I said, it's pretty much any number you've dealt with to date. So it's kind of a waste of time, or it's kind of lame to just say, oh, it's a real number, and be done with it. So what you're going to want to do actually is pick the most specific number type you can. I'm going to pull up really quickly here the picture we were talking about last time. So we want to go the most narrow or the smallest type of number we can. So if it's if it's a rational number, but it's also an integer, we're going to say integer as our most specific type. If it was a whole number, we'd go there. So we want to be as specific as possible. So -4 is clearly a real number. So we're starting from the outside where we're working our way in. It's a real number. It's a number we've dealt with. You can type it in the calculator and use it in problems. It's fine. Next up, we have a rational number. We want to know if it's that. So I'm going to go ahead and write down the things it is. Obviously, it's going to be a real number, but can it be rational? Rational means the decimal either stops or repeats. Well, this is really -4.0, so it is a rational number. Next up, we want to check and see if it's an integer. Integers are positive or negative whole numbers, or zero. And if you look at that, -4 is a positive or negative whole number. So it is an integer. However, it is not a whole number because it's negative. Whole numbers have to be positive. So to which set of numbers? It belongs to all three of these sets. The most specific one, like if you were only to give one, I would be cool with just saying integer. It's the most specific thing you can. For number 2 here, definitely a real number. It is also going to be a rational number. The decimal actually stops after there. Decimals are okay with rationals, but they have to stop or repeats. If you want to pause the video and try these next two examples for yourself, now that you've seen how they work, you can go right on and do that. For the next one though, if you type that decimal in your calculator, square root of 55, it's going to go on forever. It's not going to repeat. The best we can do on this one is say a real number. It's not a rational number. We can also, since it's not a rational number, we can call it an irrational number. That was one of our vocab words too. So either a real number or irrational if you want to be a little more specific. And for the last one here, the square root of 196, type that in the calculator, it equals 14. 14 is a real number, it's a rational number, it's an integer, it's also a whole number. And for our last problem right here, they give you a variable, and they want to know what type of number we would expect our variable to be. So X is going to be the average ACT score in Missouri. And if you think about the average ACT score, they're going to say, on average, kids get this score. You have to ask yourself, first of all, can our number be, definitely going to be a real number. Can we have decimals? That would mean it's rational. So we can see if it's rational or it's going to be something more specific. And it turns out you can have decimals. Sometimes the average is not going to be a whole number. It might be like 18.4 or 22.9. We don't know what it is. So decimals are okay. That means we're definitely not an integer. We're definitely not a whole number. Rational or irrational is basically what it comes down to then. And when we do our decimals, they're either going to stop or they're going to be repeating, like 0.3 repeating. So this is going to be expressed with rational numbers. X will be a rational number. And that is how you apply our vocab words to classify numbers.